So I've just completed receiving a project, and now I'm going to show you how to finish logging in a project using our MLab website. So I'm going to go to mlab.com, click on Client Account, put in my login credentials, and press Login. And in order to finish login, you have to use the receiving log um, within the project section. Locate your lab and then look at the project barcode ID and confirm that you're logging in the correct project. Click Finish Login. And so we're going to now transcribe what is on the COC into the system. So we have AM resident. They have not provided us a zip code. The sampling date was 6:30. Received today. And then they want a sport trap analysis as they've submitted 3 sport air cassettes. And the sampling is 1 through 3. We have these cool autofill features in which this feature labels 1 through whatever your last sample number is. And then we have a special autofill feature in which you can change, have it sampled from, let's say, residents starting at sample number 5. And that allows you to fill in your sample IDs quicker, more efficiently. And it works better, obviously, when you have more than 3 samples, but it's a cool tool that you can utilize whenever able to, and it saves time. But for now, that is all I need. So now our sample descriptions. And blank. And since the sample is a blank, you have to denote the property location as being a blank. If we would have had an outdoor sample, you would do the same. You would just switch the property from not set to an outdoor sample. And then we're going to use the total volume area from our COC. And since the sample is a blank, it has no volume. And then we're going to change the turnaround time from standard to next day. And another cool thing about our system is the date received dictates when it's due, as long as there's no project notes on the account. So if I were to have received this project on the 15th of July, I would go change that and then say next day. It would change the due date. Instead of it being on the 20th, it's now the 16th. So whenever you receive a project, make sure that if you were to have received it the day before and you're only getting to log it in the next day, that make sure your date received matches when you actually receive the project. So I'm going to change that back. And next day, perfect. It looks good. They've not submitted any weather information, so I'm going to leave it set as none. Looking over it to make sure everything looks good, and have the client submitted any special instructions or notes. I would put it in the project log. Say they wanted results to be delivered after a set time, or if they wanted it to be delivered after a set project that they submitted, this is where I would enter it and I would add it to the log. And this can be seen in LabServe by other analysts who are completing the project. It can be seen by project managers and other lab personnel. So use that tool if you need to, and if it's not necessary for a task to be created, definitely utilize the project log. So everything looks good. Oh, another thing, if the client has requested that an additional email be sent to someone who is not a contact, you would input that email here and then push save. and then they would now have an email generated to them for project confirmation and for the release of results. So everything looks good. We're going to save that. Login has been finished, and now we're going to go QA the project. And so the QA portion is where we look over everything that we've entered and confirm that it matches what's on the COC. And it also just raises potential issues like you can see here. Our chain of custody is missing. So that means when I received this project, I forgot to scan the COC or I forgot to press save. So before you can even analyze a project, a COC has to be uploaded. So that issue would have to be remedied before any analysis can occur. And then if you were to have spelled anything incorrectly, it would show up in red to let you know, like, hey, this isn't spelled correctly. Please check your spelling, correct it. And if you, let's say the client spelled something incorrectly on the COC, you have to transcribe exactly what is on the COC. And so for the sake of this example, I'm going to update this. Let's say I had typed it in that way. It shows you in red, hey, this is spelled incorrectly. Just confirm. On the COC, it's spelled kitchen. Here I've spelled it. I don't even know how to say that, but going to fix that. Now it's correct again. We have no outdoor samples, so if you had any samples that were outdoors and you forgot to select it on the page, here's a cool tool that they've included that you can just select it, update, and you don't have to go back and forth and change the property location. And everything looks good, but due date is fine. By 5 p.m. is fine as the client has not indicated a need for results at a set time, and there are no notes on the account. So, and we have 3 samples, 1 blank, due on the 20th, no outdoor, and all of our samples do not have the same volume. So I'm going to continue. And then if for any reason the client doesn't want an email project confirmation and they've indicated that, you would just uncheck that and continue the QA process. But most clients already have their project manager knowing whether or not they want to receive an email. And then again, if you forgot to add an email during the logging process, you can add an email here. So let's say add, or if the client has indicated that they want someone removed from the email confirmation, you would just remove that and send. And now the project confirmation has been set.